I'm developing a new framework of pro-black for 2026 that is more useful and less prone to rage baiting and FBA nonsense and meaningless, pointless arguments. You want optimal education around black issues and what pro-blackness is all about and needs to be. You want coalitions built, you want community. I just have so much less energy for, what's the word I want to use here? And this is why I haven't figured this out yet. But I just know the aftermath of Kamala's presidential campaign and the further mainstreaming of FBA nonsense lets me know that we really need to reevaluate like pro-black as a unifying framework for black liberation. Because pro-black to some people is just pro-black capitalism. It's just pro-black excellence. It's not pro-black everyone. It's not pro-black poor people. It's not pro-black LGBTQ people. It's not even pro-black behavioral health disabilities. It's a specific pro-black that we've piggybacked all these other things on, but you recognize, if you just pay attention, that they shed all that shit as soon as they get the opportunity, which is why we're talking about Andrew Schulz. So for those who may not know, Andrew Schulz is a comedian, podcaster type dude, Trump voter. And Andrew Schulz is only significant because of his connection to Charlamagne the God. So here they are, the Brilliant Idiots podcast. This podcast started 2020. And then, he must have started at the same time. That's wild. I didn't know Flagrant 2 started at the same time. So Flagrant 2 and Brilliant Idiots starts at around the same time. But as you can see, Brilliant Idiots podcast has less than 500,000 subscribers. And Flagrant has almost 2 million. Here's the key thing. However long Andrew Schulz was around, he was essentially a nobody until he became Charlemagne's pet white boy. Charlemagne put Andrew Schulz on. Andrew Schulz was not a household name or a significant figure at all. That one I know for a fact. I'm sure he has some comedy moments, he has some specials, but I'm pretty sure they probably, the realest part is, what was it? Man code, guy code? This is Andrew Schulz, guy code, ridiculousness, etc. And all of that was produced by Charlemagne on like MTV2 and shit. With the Brilliant Idiots and being like Charlemagne's pet white boy, Schulz was able to grab a hold of cultural cachet, specifically with black people. But with Flagrant 2, he clearly started catering more towards the Neo Red Pill audience, Neo Bro podcast scene. They had Fresh and Fit on there once. It was an ugly moment because they clowned Fresh and Fit, but they were definitely in the same category. And as a byproduct of that,
who do you think?
He very much became a Trump supporter, and they had Trump on their podcast this past election.
That was the best dodge of the question.
That's your second best dodge in your life.
Listen to this.
You didn't hear it, but that's good. They spend millions of dollars on the name CBS.
Yeah.
And then I come along and I say it's Face the Nation.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Or Meet the Fake Press.
Yeah.
Meet the press.
You're good at this.
I say Meet the Fake Press.
Yeah.
And they spend all this money, and then I say it once, and it goes to millions of people.
Yeah.
But no, they are fake. But some of these questions are much better.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm honored.
Much better.
You still haven't answered though.
That was the best dodge of the question.
And so they sit up here and they giggle like fucking school children at Donald Trump. And he did this whole tour. He did this. He did Rogan. He did, what's the little boy named Aiden Ross? Very much a Trump advocate, right? And so over the last year, all of these guys have started to be like,
oh man, I can't believe Donald Trump is so bad. I can't believe he didn't release the Epstein files. Who could have thought?
Fucking horrible. And I tend not to care. I tend not to be bothered by the fact that any particular group of white figures supported Donald Trump or not, or regrets it at this point. I find that to be useless rage bait. But it always bothered me because they still had this show together. Him and Charlemagne still had a weekly podcast together where none of this Trump stuff ever came up, or seemingly never came up. They talked once after the election and Charlemagne conceded. So I've said before, I used to be a Charlemagne apologist. I used to be a Charlamagne apologist because despite all of his issues, I felt like Charlamagne was a useful endpoint to the worst niggas possible. Now, Charlamagne's not a high-end intellectual, political, whatever. But the idea that his homeboy, his white homeboy, can be a Trump voter, and that's not a deal breaker. Not a conservative, right? Not a conservative, not a shit lib, not Ezra Klein. I mean, being a conservative should be a deal breaker in general. Yes, I agree. But I could imagine if you are in a workspace with conservatives, you don't just blow up businesses for the most part. But MAGA on a podcast where you get into politics and y'all's podcast is about y'all being chummy and friends, I don't get it. And so watching Schulz backtrack through his Trump support without proper pushback has been very frustrating. So I want to watch a little bit of this.
That's crazy.
Yes. And look, I know I had Trump on the podcast, and I'm
Stop explaining that.
No, but let me just clarify, because I think it is important to say, like, I know how I had him.
So immediately, Charlamagne, why are you trying to protect this man? Charlamagne, why are you trying to protect this man? Is there a context I missed there? Let me go back a little bit.
You should never try to escalate the situation, and clearly all of them are escalating the situation. The training is horrible. I did 6 months of training. They're doing 47 days because this is the 47th.
I saw Amy Klobuchar on the Sunday news. She said that they do 47 days of training because Trump is the 47th president.
That's crazy.
Yes. And look, I know I had Trump on the podcast, and I'm
Stop explaining that.
No, but let me just clarify, because I think it is important to say.
Wow, has he explained it? I mean, maybe I missed it, but I need to hear the explanation. I need to hear the explanation because I don't understand why Charlamagne would tell him to stop explaining this. Maybe let me look, because I've only seen clips. Maybe I've missed it.
Pod comes out, and obviously we're all like, expecting, okay, what's going to be the reaction to this? We knew it was a great pod. Comes out, reaction starts with the right. The right loves it. They're like, finally, this is Donald Trump. This is the personality. This is someone who's got charisma. He's making comedians laugh. He's just hanging out talking. Every headline is the best interview Trump's ever done, whatever. I expected that after it because I think we kind of showed him as a man, right? It wasn't like a gotcha type of interview, which is not really our style.
You normalize
people that do the gotcha
fascism.
interviews. I think it's very narcissistic.
It's for you.
It's just for you. It's like
not for the people.
Exactly. Or it's for your fan base to just go, look at you. You held the torch to him.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's like you have an hour to potentially influence someone who might be the most powerful person in the world to have empathy for something you really care about. And he's listening to you. So how can we create a situation where he actually listens and he doesn't feel bullied? Pod comes out.
Yeah, so like all that cancel culture shit I said earlier, that's why we got to start it in June. This is our last victim of cancel culture, is this motherfucker right here. It's like, let's get back to this. I want to hear, because I really want to know what Charlamagne's about to say here.
Like, I know how I had him on the podcast, and when I'm talking out about this, I'm not doing it to get people to be like, oh, he's a good guy or whatever like that, or trying to get anybody on my side. I understand that this is a horrific event that happened. I objectively want to talk about it. I'm not trying to win anybody over in this.
You understand? You know the difference between right and wrong.
There's a difference between right and wrong, and there's a difference.
I don't know if this motherfucker knows the difference between right and wrong, though. I just don't. I don't know if anybody that voted for Donald Trump truly knows the difference between right and wrong. Y'all saw this man in Epstein's pictures, and that was a big deal for y'all. I've always understood all these motherfuckers to be what they're being exposed to be. But that side of the aisle campaigned on releasing Epstein files and draining the swamp, etc. And y'all saw this man in those pictures years before AI and deepfakes was popping off like that. So I don't get this, I know the difference between right and wrong thing, because like, were you that ignorant or did you not care? Like, I don't even have to pull out the real hardcore stuff. I'm just talking about the obvious stuff that everybody knows. January 6th treason shit, Epstein file shit, COVID, put bleach in your ass shit.
Shredding it. And now they're realizing that people have noticed it, and now they're trying to backtrack it. But
by the way, he's been wiping his ass with the Constitution.
Sure.
I've been on
Thank you, Charlamagne.
When you say we should terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election, shit like that got to be disqualifying if you run for president.
So here's a perfect example. So it's like, I know that there are people sounding the alarms about this.
He didn't even respond to that shit. That's why Charlamagne didn't want to talk about this shit. That's why he wanted to do it on the pod. Charlamagne just trying to get his money. So actually, I see what this is now. Charlamagne knows his pocket white boy is trash. He just don't care. And he's annoyed now because they should be up there doing yucks, doing fat jokes and shit. And he knows his pocket white boy is about to say some dumb shit and not get the picture. And he knows this personally. And so he's like,
can we just move on? I already know you full of shit about this. I don't want to talk about it publicly on the pod.
He looks frustrated.
All these last few weeks in Minnesota, I didn't think it was possible happening in the United States of America. I'm being 100% serious.
To white people?
No, to anybody.
But you've seen it happen to black people.
Exactly.
Yes, like, to white people.
It's okay to say that.
No,
it is.
No,
But it's okay to say that.
I don't. I mean, I didn't know that this was possible to happen in the United States of America. What I'm specifically talking about with
oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, he does seem pissed. He does seem pissed. This is painful to listen to.
Situation here, and like not only this one, but also what we've seen ICE doing, like entering homes without
This
warrants,
nigga Charlemagne.
like arresting people.
This nigga Charlemagne is trying to hold it together. Oh, okay. So at least I know Charlemagne. I'll say this: it's some bullshit and it's whack as fuck that he's still doing the show with this dude. Especially, he's kind of seeing what the dynamic is. But at least I know Charlemagne. He knows the situation. He just doesn't care. He is pulling through. He is hyper focusing on the bag right now. He is locked in for the bag. What was he about to say here, right here?
When I saw these last few weeks in Minnesota, I didn't think it was possible to happen in the United States of America. I'm being 100% serious.
To white people.
No, to anybody.
But you've seen it happen to black people.
Exactly.
Yes, like to white people.
It's okay to say that.
No,
it is. But it's okay to say that.
I don't. I mean, I didn't know that this was possible to happen in the United States of America.
You see this nigga Charlemagne, like, you see these ticks? Can y'all see? Let me make this full screen so y'all can see. Like, I want y'all to look at Charlemagne's face as he's talking and like trying to hold it together. Like as he's talking and like he's picking at his ear.
Anybody.
But you've seen it happen to black people.
Exactly.
Yes, like to white people.
It's okay to say that.
No,
it is. But it's okay to say that.
I don't. I mean, I didn't know that this was possible to happen in the United States of America. And what I'm specifically talking about with this situation here, and like not only this one, but also what we've seen ICE doing, like entering homes without warrants, like arresting people, it is incredibly un-American.
Nigga, it's fascism! Ooh. Come through. You about to say what I'm thinking, Charlamagne? Can I have some grace for you if you say exactly what you need to say to this motherfucker in this moment? What you about to say, Charlamagne?
We don't know that they're even agents.
I thought Ice-T's perspective was very interesting.
What did he say?
Ice-T said that there's going to be a civil war. But he said the civil war is going to be between local law enforcement and ICE agents. Mm. He said that it's inevitable because of what, even Taylor is saying. Like, you don't know who these people are, right? And
I disagree. We'll come back to that. Somebody just asked, will I go on the Breakfast Club? There was a time where I really would have been excited to go on the Breakfast Club. Now, I don't know because I would not want to go into that space combatively. Because I don't think I could go into like having had Charlamagne and Killer Mike talk shit about me on podcasts means that if I go to the Breakfast Club, I can't just go in there on some chill, let's have a discussion shit. Because I don't think I'm not there's certain spaces I would never go. Y'all kind of know some of them. But I don't believe in going into a space. I'm not a debate type dude. My energy don't work with that. I'm sure we can find common ground, but like, regardless of how I feel about Charlamagne, this is still a trained media figure with way more years on the mic and on the camera than I have. And so if I go to the Breakfast Club, I don't want to catch what Eric Adams caught with Olay from the whole Breakfast Club crew. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out, but there would have to be some type of like conversation around how do we talk about shit like this?
This type of behavior happening in America, I just didn't think it was possible. I thought, and I heard people sound the alarms. I thought that our institutions and our Constitution could hold up. I didn't think that it would be infringed upon.
But you have to have people who care to hold up.
And that's the question, is like, who's going to end up doing that? So what you're saying is that local law enforcement is going to end up doing that, and they're going to be pushing back against ICE. And you would also,
please tell me that's not what you're saying, Charlamagne.
People in ICE going, hey,
that's not what I don't think that was what Charlamagne was saying. I don't think Charlamagne was saying that. I'm going to let him repeat that, make sure I ain't tripping.
I thought, and I heard people sound the alarms. I thought that
you heard people sound alarms. We'll come back to that.
Institutions and our Constitution could hold up. I didn't think that it would be infringed upon.
But you have to have people who care to hold up.
And that's the question, is like, who's going to end up doing that? So what you're saying is that local law enforcement is going to end up doing that, and they're going to be pushing back against ICE.
No. Look at his face again. Charlamagne, blink. Blink twice, my nigga. Look at Charlemagne's face again when he says that bullshit. So if you didn't catch it, Schulz is white people in. He says, I didn't think that the Constitution would be disregarded so easily, yada, yada, yada. Charlamagne says you have to have people who want to hold up the Constitution. And then Schulz says, I agree with you. You mean police officers. And look at Charlemagne's face after he says that bullshit.
I thought that our institutions and our Constitution could hold up.
Have people who care to hold up.
And that's the question, is like, who's going to end up doing that? So what you're saying is that local law enforcement is going to end up doing that, and they're going to be pushing back against ICE. Yeah, and you would also...
Hold on, let me see if I can get it on the perfect frame. Well, you know what, Oni, I want you to freeze it on the perfect frame when this nigga gave her this nigga look. I really want y'all to look at the difference in posture right now. I have never had to sit like this. I've never had to look at this man's posture right now. He is literally he has both hands in front of himself, in front of in between his legs, his hands intertwined like this, trying to keep it together. As his white homeboy, as his token white says the dumbest, whitest, most uninformed bullshit you've ever heard.
Against ICE. Yeah, and you would also, I would imagine, would hopefully go like there might be people in ICE going, hey, what we're doing is unconstitutional and we cannot continue to behave this way.
Whenever you have a political movement that has been as anti-democratic as Trump and MAGA have been, you're going to get pushback culturally, institutionally, legally. That's what you should hope.
All right, come on.
Like the Trump ass kissers. They're like, whatever Trump says, we do. I don't believe in any principles and I don't believe in the Constitution.
Tell them you're not one of them, Schulz.
No, I mean, I think that anybody listens to this show knows that I'm not one of them. I mean, specifically with immigration, when he was on the pod, we pushed back.
I mean, I don't think Schulz is a Trump sycophant. I'll give him that. But like Charlamagne, you see him still trying to save his boy. Tell him you're not a Trump sycophant, Schulz. Yeah, Andrew knows where his bread is buttered. Because here's the thing. Here's the real fucked up thing I want you all to realize. This is on Charlemagne's show. He hasn't done this on Flagrant. That's where this needs to happen. This don't need to happen on Brilliant Idiots. He needs to go on Flagrant and have this same tone and attitude. Even though it's still trash, it would still be some type of skin in the game.
Some people would be like, oh, come here.
We'll come back to that in a
second. I'm talking about I haven't committed any crimes, I haven't gone to jail, I haven't done these things. And that's how I personally feel. Now, you might feel like you want all illegals gone. You might feel like you want strong borders. Like all these things are okay to feel.
No, they're not. It's not okay to feel like you want all undocumented immigrants gone. That's some white people shit. Start with the criminals.
The way to do it is not to erode American values. I think that we can all agree on that.
Unless it's not about immigration.
Well. And we're talking about in Flagrant, it's like less than 5% of the people that they've deported are actual criminals. Yeah. So, and then 75% are just long-standing residents here that are here undocumented, right? So what I think they're doing is using this thing of security as a smokescreen so they could just blanket deport and harass not only illegals, but also American citizens.
Oh!
The worst case is...
This is a test run for the elections.
And he'll shut shit down.
Shut it down.
It's going to be very hard to do. I thought about that too, Chris. It's going to be very hard to do state to state. You got a lot of states that are going to...
So, Chad, help me understand, right? If I'm Charlamagne, this is what I'm doing. My stance has always been with Trump voters is stupid or evil. That's pretty much what it comes down to me. Either you're stupid or you're evil. Usually a mixture of the two. Maybe you're too dumb to realize you're evil, or you're evil enough to play stupid. He's kind of playing stupid. I find it hard to believe that with the multitude of people of color in Andrew Schulz's general vicinity, I give Theo Von a pass for stupid. I give Joe Rogan a pass for stupid, even though evil is still very much on the table, but I give a pass for stupid. I know for a fact that Schulz has had enough people to say, hey, it's not gonna end with criminals. Policing doesn't work like that. Militarized police especially doesn't work like that. It's not gonna end with trans people. Also, this man tried to overthrow an election. But my point is that I can guarantee that Schulz had a handful of black people around him. Angela Yee is in Charlemagne's background. Not Angela Yee, Angela Rye. I have to imagine that at some point Angela Rye and Schulz had a conversation. And that Angela Rye illustrated to Schulz the basics of why Trump bad. So he can't play dumb because he heard these things. And he alluded to it a second ago that he had people tell him what the reality of the situation was going to be. So the question then becomes, Schulz, why didn't you listen? What is it about you that made it plausible in your head that all this clear evidence in front of you was not real, but the words of the multiple time criminal? What made it so that you would believe that? And not just the fact that it was black people telling them, 34-time felon, thank you. Not just the fact that it was black people telling them, but that there's so much evidence to the opposite out there. That's the only real question I would have, is I need you to interrogate what brought you to the decision to platform, support, and vote for Donald Trump. I mean, they threw money at him. They threw money at, like one thing I always thought was funny, if I'm not mistaken, they threw money at Sexy Red, but she supported Kamala Harris at the end of the day. So like, you can take the check and still not take the shit. No, Sexy, I mean, she might be a Trump supporter again because they're paying her checks, but I remember vividly her coming out and saying she supported Kamala. And don't get me wrong, she was bad for all that shit regardless, but at least I can take solace in the fact that she wasn't a true believer. You see what I'm saying? She's back on the trail with Trump. I mean, she getting her check, so you know her 15 minutes is up, so I get it. Schulz seems like he operates largely out of spite and contrarianism when he's told something he supports as a bad position. I feel that, but no, the answer is white supremacy. The answer is, this is the flaw of white normies, the white moderate. This is every Malcolm X, Martin Luther King quote you've ever heard about white moderates, white liberals, Andrew Schulz. This is Afro-pessimism shit. This is the fact that Schulz could be immersed in a black space, literally fed, literally brought to new heights of success by Charlamagne. And Schulz has outgrown Charlamagne, at least in the podcasting world. But despite that reality, the myth of white supremacy is just incredibly powerful. There are plenty of white people, there's just a dial or two turned in there somewhere and they'll get it. It won't be perfect, but we'll at least get them over the voter for Trump threshold. You feel me? The voter for Trump threshold is not super hard for a lot of white people. They may not be John Brown. They may not get there, but that voter for Trump threshold should be the bare minimum to be in community. Anyway, let's keep going.
I understand. People probably look at this and be like, they've done a million other things to justify them. Sure, and that's fair. But this specific situation, I think, is a breaking point and has justified all those criticisms. I think people's antennas are way up, and people's antennas that were not up initially.
This is like seeing the Epstein files. Because it's like,
wouldn't it be nice if we got those?
It's like, damn, y'all really been lying to us. Like, damn, like you really lying. Let me ask you a question. Yep. A lot of people will say, hey, Andrew, you supported Trump. You screamed.
I didn't support this at all. I've never supported his immigration policy.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You never did support his immigration policy.
But you voted for him. You can't say I didn't support this thing if you voted for it. You can say I don't like this thing that he did. Everybody that voted for Biden and Kamala, which includes me, voted for the continuing of the policies that are happening in Palestine and Gaza and in Israel right now. You did. You cannot say you did not vote for that. You can try to excuse it, right? You can say my goal in this was X, Y, and Z. But you can't try to deflect the worst part of the thing. You gotta hold that. Because I gotta be honest, what exactly did you vote for if you voted for Trump? What were you voting for?
Did you not believe Trump would do any of the things that he said he was gonna do because you didn't know or because you believed in the guardrails of America?
I believe in the guardrails of America. And I still do believe in the guardrails of America. And when I see people pushing back against this, joy is a weird thing, but it makes me proud. It makes me happy when I see people that are conservatives pushing back against this. It makes me happy. It goes, oh, wow, there are some people that aren't just like Trump cultists. There are some people that are right-wing Republicans that will hold him accountable, even if that means that they're going to lose the midterms, even if that means that in the short term, the Republicans might not have the power. They understand that for the next 100 years, America, for it to be successful, has to have a backbone, and that backbone is the Constitution. So that makes me happy. But it's just catastrophic. And I hope a lot of other
follow up, Charlamagne,
it would have been
please.
so easy just to say, as the administration, right?
Yep.
This is wrong.
Well, not even that.
We need to investigate
let's not rush to judgment.
Yes.
No follow-up. No follow-up. No follow-up. At least his energies, he's relaxed again now. Yeah, I just don't. All right, I'm done. Because I don't want to hear, you know what? No, let me be fair. Let me try to be as gracious as possible. I personally don't want to or need to hear the political analysis of Andrew Schulz and Charlemagne the God on a problem they both helped contribute to. Andrew by platforming and baby-handing Trump, and Charlemagne by not challenging this behavior a lot earlier and creating the lane for Andrew in the first place. However, if Andrew did do this on flagrant 2, that's a net positive. There are motherfuckers that don't know no better that maybe needed to hear from Andrew Schulz. We are in the middle of, thankfully, a great abandonment of the MAGA cult. Aside from the hardcore cultists, what I say last week with what's happening in Minnesota, they're losing a lot of the normies. Now, them losing normies doesn't mean we're gaining normies. But yeah, of the Gen Z, I'm pretty sure the Gen Zs that voted for this shit are like, oh, wow, maybe everybody else was right. But what I'm personally more interested in, I am genuinely interested in watching Andrew Schulz unpack his belief in our systems. As a person who sat next to Charlemagne for all these years and watched Mike Brown and watched Philando Castile and watched George Floyd and didn't understand that police tactics would be exactly the same with ICE. As a person that sat in black spaces and watched January 6th and watched this man try to undermine our government to circle back and say, oh, but I think the guardrails will keep him under control so he can do his agenda, which was what exactly? What was Trump's agenda? It was immigrants and trans people. Make eggs cheaper and release the Epstein files. He is 0 for 4, and anyone with a brain, thank you, phone off. His actual platform was cruelty the entire time. It's just really frustrating to have Charlemagne sitting there and kind of throw him alley-oops to unpack things and him kind of like dip his toe in and then move on.